Hey there! The artwork featured in today's video is an exclusive merch design created for the Story of High Hopes Low Rolls, an original animated series made by me and some friends that's hosted right here on YouTube. If you haven't seen any of the series so far, there are going to be links on screen and in the description below if you'd like to catch up. And if you like the look of the artwork in this speed paint and you'd like to get a copy of it for yourself, there are going to be some links to our shop down below as well. Any sales we make go towards the production of the series, and I know we'd all really appreciate your support. So anybody who's been keeping up to date with the Story of High Hopes Low Rolls will know that we recently released a new episode. It took a lot of hard work and a very long time to make, so we were all really excited to finally get it online. Especially because it was kind of the first proper story episode we've been able to work on. Episode 0, which came before, was a lot more broad and focused on world building, so it was really fun with this latest episode to be able to start kind of zooming in and introducing the characters who are going to be driving the story forward from here on out. And those characters are the focus of today's speed paint. You see, to go along with the release of the new episode, we wanted to make a bunch of new designs for our store to kind of celebrate the occasion. There are more speed paints on the way covering some of the larger designs I worked on, but today we're going to start at the beginning with some of the first designs I drew up. A set of drawings depicting each of the main characters of the show in chibi form. Redbubble offers a bunch of options for what you can put your designs onto, so these designs are available on a bunch of stuff, but when I was initially drawing them up, it was just with the intent of making a set of stickers, so I wanted to keep the artwork itself simple, cute, and recognizable. The first character I worked on was Patti. Oh, and quick note, if any of you guys don't already know, all of the main characters in High Hopes are mine and my friends Dungeons & Dragons characters, and the show itself is actually a retelling of the adventures we've had in our homebrew campaign. Patti is the character I play as. Needless to say, I always have a lot of fun drawing him. He's actually become something of a go-to character for me whenever I just feel like doodling without using too much brainpower, because I've become so familiar with his design at this point that I can kind of just draw him without thinking about it. Before making this set of stickers though, I hadn't really drawn him in this more simplified style, so it was nice to kind of change speeds and focus on just the key elements of his design, as opposed to all of the fine detail I tend to go into whenever I draw him normally. I really wanted these designs to give off an idea of each of the characters' personalities. I won't go into too much detail about Patti's personality right here, because if you do want to know more about what this boy is like, then I would recommend just watching episode 1 of High Hopes Low Rolls, because that goes into a lot more detail than I'll be able to in this video. But overall, I do think this chibi does a good job of conveying his kind of playful, friendly nature, which I am very happy about. The second character I worked on was Ging. Ging is a very level-headed, down-to-earth kind of character who can always be relied on to make good judgments in a pinch. Plus, she's hands down pretty much the coolest member of the party. Ging is also the party's ranger, so I made sure to include her animal companion Nala in this piece. One of my favourite parts of Ging's design is probably her hair, both because it's just a really cool hairstyle in and of itself, and because it's a fun colour that stands out nicely against the rest of her design. The colouring for all of these stickers was quite fun to do actually, because I decided to use a simple, flat colour style. Sometimes it's good to keep things simple like that. In this case, it meant that these stickers didn't end up being too complicated of a set to produce, and also meant that they didn't end up looking too heavily rendered, which would have led to the designs themselves getting a bit lost. Next up was Rook. Rook is the resident wizard of the party, and he's actually one of my favourite characters. Well, I say that, they're all my favourites, I kind of have a spread bias on that front, but you know, he's certainly a character that I think all of us on the High Hopes team really enjoy watching at any rate, and he's always fun to draw. I would draw him more often because I love his design and kind of how scrappy it is. It really suits his character. But it always takes me ages to draw headgear of any kind without it looking really weird, so I tend to just get stuck in his hat. For his sticker design, I wanted to get across his kind of awkward personality. I don't know if awkward is the right word for it, but he does have -2 charisma, so that's what we'll go with. I also wanted to include a couple of key items that make me think of Rook, like some crystals poking out of his bag, his spellbook floating in front of him, and of course his pseudo-dragon Xenia sitting in her rightful place on top of his head. Ava is quite simply the life of the party, in more ways than one, but she's also our druid. Ava is a character that I just love. She's an absolute wild card and it's always so fun to see her in action. She's also a character that I've drawn before on this channel in a previous Dungeons & Dragons speed paint. And one of the most frequently recurring comments I tend to see on that video is from people asking, "Hey, does Ava have stubble?" Or "Why does Ava have a beard?" Or simply, "What's that on Ava's face?" The short answer to those questions is yes, Ava has stubble. The long answer is that Ava is a dwarf, and in the canon of Dungeons & Dragons, it's actually more common for every kind of dwarf, male, female, or anybody in between, to have some kind of facial hair. The extended answer to those questions is that in real life, anybody can have facial hair. And honestly, it's been very entertaining to see so many people stumped by the idea that a fictional lady with green hair could possibly be rocking a 5 o'clock shadow. But beardy bewilderment aside, it was real fun to get to draw Ava in such a cute style for this sticker set. I think it really suits her. The more stylized line work definitely helped to show off her lively spirit, and the flat color style did quite a good job at differentiating between the different shades of green in her color palette. Following on, we have another dwarven member of the party, Tolan. Tolan is the party's bard, and much like the person who plays her, she is one of the biggest little rays of sunshine you'll ever meet. Her sunny personality makes her a really nice character to draw as well, because she's always got a big old smile on her face, which is pretty infectious. 9 times out of 10, by the time I'm done drawing her, I tend to be smiling too. I think my favourite part of her design to draw though is probably her hair, because it's so big and squiggly. It's always real satisfying to see it take shape. I tried to give Tolan a very jolly pose and expression in her sticker design to properly represent her cheerful nature. Luckily, her colour palette is already light and bright enough to match her personality. This sticker set is obviously just in flat colour, but I'd love to do a more detailed artwork or painting of Tolan sometime in the future, just to properly show off the jumble of different fabric patterns that her outfit probably consists of. Ginga is the third and final dwarf in the party, and she's also the team's fighter. I definitely wanted to go with a jumping into action kind of pose for Ginga here, because I think that speaks a lot about her character. She's the type to face things head on, and she certainly loves a good fight. It was fun to play around with a more dynamic pose for this design as well, since most of the previous ones in this set had been a bit more calm. Ginga, much like Tolan, is a character who has a real infectious kind of energy about her, both when it comes to drawing her and just in general. She might not always have the best plans of action, but her enthusiasm more than covers for any missing logic, so it's quite easy to find yourself diving headfirst into danger with her saying, "Hell yeah, let's do this." One of my favourite parts of Ginga's design is definitely her eyes. I've always loved characters with those kind of blacked out eyes, so that's always a fun feature to work on. She's also one of the most heavily armoured characters in the party, which means that whenever I draw her I have to step out of my comfort zone a little bit, since I don't draw armour very often if I can help it. And last but by no means least, Naggar the Dragonborn is here to finish up the set. Naggar is the party's barbarian, and much like every other character so far, he is a member of the party who we all just absolutely love. Naggar is a strong, heavy weapon-wielding battle bro who's not to be taken lightly. Well, I say that, but any of you who have already seen episode 1 might have cottoned on to the fact that he's not your stereotypical gruff, tough, angry kind of barbarian. Really, he's more of a friendly himbo, and we love him for it. I think any fellow Dungeons & Dragons artists watching will relate to this, but I tend to have a bit of a tough time when it comes to drawing Dragonborn. I'm still kind of figuring them out. But Naggar is one of the few Dragonborn characters who I can draw consistently from the most angles. I don't know why, I think it might just be his friendly little face. I really enjoy drawing his smile. And I wanted to make sure that that smile of his was a prominent feature in his design, so I gave him a nice friendly expression and a confident pose. Overall, a warm and welcoming appearance that contrasts nicely with the cold tones of his colour palette. And with that, this set of character stickers is complete. It was so nice to be able to draw the whole High Hopes party like this. I love these kind of chibi character artworks whenever I see them at Comic-Con merch tables and stuff like that, so it was really fun to try out the style for myself with these. As I mentioned at the beginning, I drew these designs in order to celebrate the first episode of our animated series finally being uploaded here on YouTube, and they are all available on our merch store on a bunch of different stuff. So again, if you want to get yourself any of these, show the party some love, there are going to be links for that down in the description. But for now, I just want to say a massive thank you from all of us on the High Hopes Low Rolls production team. The amount of support that we've seen from you guys for the series so far has been far above and beyond anything we could have expected or even hoped for, and we really, really appreciate it. We've got a lot of story to tell, and this is only the beginning. Anyway, more speed paints are on the way soon. Thank you very much for tuning into this one, and I hope to see you next time.